So you guys know that defense spending is pretty much the most useless way for Europe to spend money, right? Now, I say this as somebody who desperately wants Europe to spend more money. I've been more or less convinced. I don't speak to the details of it very much because I'm a little confused by it, but I'm pretty convinced that one of Europe's greatest problems over the past 20 years is not spending money. I believe the US spent too much money and the Europe did not spend enough. They didn't spend the money they needed to really unify the country and unify the countries and bring it together into a closer union. They didn't spend the money they needed to build the infrastructure to really knit everything together. They didn't spend the money they needed to just get that velocity of money to truly take advantage of their massive economy and keep up with the United States and become a more centered Europe. I believe that Europe needs to spend more money, but there's nothing worse for them to spend money on than defense. We've proved this in the United States over and over again. Once upon a time, back in the 1950s, during other sorts of wars, there were actually like knock-on economic positive effects. Like there were big assembly lines for building weapons. That's not what weapons are like now. Weapons are now spending billions of dollars on like a few items that only make a few executives and a few engineers rich. Europe doesn't need that. Russia is not a threat to Europe, especially if the United States is really stepping back from Europe. It's just not a real thing. And the money that they're going to spend is never going to be used for anything useful and is going to be wasted in like a macroeconomic sense. Like it's just bad Keynesianism. And what would be even worse would be to cut the social welfare spending that does actually add to economic growth and economic velocity to sort of put it into these silos for friends of the leadership. Executives. I mean, it's a really terrible idea, but it seems to be, and I don't think they're really going to do it, but it's something that they're claiming they're going to do. European defense spending is, a mistake, even though Europe needs to spend more money.